Oh, come on.
Come on, man.
Seriously.
I'm dead.
Rory McIlroy has finally broken his silence. And it's just as fiery as that shocking gesture that rocked the Ryder Cup. Bethpage Black spiraled from golf into absolute chaos. Boos, slurs, chants, and a full-blown stadium roar of "Screw you, Rory," until he finally lost it. One sharp, defiant middle finger later, and boom, the world exploded in outrage. Now the backlash is wild, but Rory's explanation cuts deep and sounds brutally real. And if you think this story's crazy, wait till you hear what other players have been hiding. Subscribe to Golf Swing so you don't miss the next one. Was it disrespect or pure survival against a feral drunk crowd ready to pounce? The drama hit boiling point on Saturday when Rory and Shane Lowry charged into their 4-ball match against Justin Thomas and Cameron Young, only to face venom straight from the first tee. The Bethpage crowd was ruthless, loud, and totally unhinged. The chants of "Beat you, Rory" echoed like a battle cry, shaking the air every single time he lined up a shot. But still, he kept his head down, stacking birdies, draining putts, acting like the noise didn't touch him. Until it finally did. When Lowry clinched victory on the 11th green, cameras caught Rory glancing back at the screaming crowd, and with the precision of a blade, he raised his left hand high. That middle finger flashed for barely a second, but it hit like a bomb.
I think Rory's looking at the referee now, just asking people to settle down.
The crowd gasped. The internet went wild, and within minutes, the clip was everywhere. Some called it vulgar, others called it legendary, and a few said it was the most honest thing in sports. Either way, Rory's gesture wasn't just anger. It was a statement, a warning shot fired straight into the chest of an American crowd that had gone too far. Before we dive deeper into this madness, hit that like button. Because what Rory just pulled off might be one of the wildest Ryder Cup moments ever caught on camera. Seriously, this wasn't just tension, it was total mayhem. By Saturday, the atmosphere had gone from rowdy to downright feral. The first tee grandstand turned into a drunken drumline of chaos, with failed MC chants echoing through the air and non-stop abuse flying straight at McIlroy like bullets. This wasn't clever banter or friendly rivalry. It was pure venom hiding behind fake patriotism. Fans were screaming through his backswing, throwing personal jabs about his private life, and drowning out every European cheer with choreographed profanity that shook the course. Security doubled up, but it didn't matter. With nearly 50,000 fans packed against the ropes, the chaos had already taken over. Lowry, acting more like a bodyguard than a teammate, even lunged toward hecklers just to keep things from boiling over. By the 10th tee, one fan crossed the line so hard it stopped feeling like golf. It looked like a street brawl in polo shirts. This was golf at its dirtiest, a battlefield of jeers, threats, and deliberate distraction. It wasn't about cheering for Team USA anymore. It was about tearing Europe down piece by piece. And yet, through the madness, McIlroy kept pushing, jaw clenched, eyes locked on the horizon like a soldier under fire. But by the 17th green, after hours of taking hit after hit, he finally exploded, screaming "F you" back at the crowd with raw, primal fury that silenced everything for a moment. It wasn't polished, it wasn't diplomatic, but it was real, raw, and unfiltered.
3 really popular words. They were "you, Rory," comments about his family, comments about Shane Lowry's weight.
Double! You ain't moving!
Comments about rumors that you hear about Rory McIlroy, Pinehurst, Bryson. A lot of it is stuff that I can't say on camera, but just know that they took it over the line.
Rory's message cut through the noise loud and clear. He wasn't scared to fight fire with fire, no matter who didn't like it. That one middle finger might have lasted just a few seconds, but the backlash? It burned for days. American pundits jumped on him instantly, calling McIlroy classless and immature, with Barstool Sports even demanding he get tossed from the tournament. Social media exploded. Trolls slowed the clip down frame by frame, demanding apologies like they'd never seen an athlete push straight to their breaking point before. But that outrage, it was totally selective, conveniently ignoring the mob-like behavior of those US fans who scream mid-swing, coordinated chants, and turned the Ryder Cup into a straight-up hostile circus. European voices came swinging back fast, calling out the hypocrisy loud and clear. Why were Americans cheering on their own hecklers, but crucifying Rory for finally clapping back? This debate went way beyond one raised finger. It cracked open the whole issue of fan culture. How far can it really go before it stops being passion and turns into abuse? Are athletes supposed to just stand there, smile, and take it all for entertainment? Rory's defenders said he reacted like any real human would, pushed for hours until something inside finally snapped. That middle finger wasn't disrespect, it was raw honesty. For every critic calling him a villain, there were thousands calling him a hero for refusing to bow down to bullies. The Ryder Cup had officially crossed the line, from golf into full-blown gladiator theater. And right in the center of it all stood Rory, both the target and the torchbearer of chaos. You could even hear the commentators whisper, "I think Rory's looking at the ref now, just asking people to settle down." But there was no settling down that day, not a chance. Saturday afternoon didn't feel like golf anymore. It felt like a siege. Every hole was a haunted house of hecklers. Every turn, another ambush waiting to break him. Organizers scrambled to plant New York State troopers around tee boxes, but it was too late. The crowd had tasted blood. They weren't cheering for Team USA anymore. They were crafting Rory's downfall, timing their screams perfectly to wreck his swing, waiting for silence just to shatter it again with venom. And somehow Rory still didn't break. Instead of crumbling, Rory flipped the script. On the very first tee, he turned toward the mob and blew them a sarcastic kiss. That smug little smirk cutting through the noise like a blade. The boos only got louder, nastier, more unhinged. Then on the 16th, after yet another perfectly timed distraction, Rory snapped. "Shut the up," he roared, his voice echoing across the fairway, caught live for the entire world to hear. It was electric, it was messy, and it was real. For once, the chaos wasn't one-sided. The players were pushing back hard. Shane Lowry nearly broke through security after another heckler took it too far, his rage boiling over as officials held him back. Team Europe wasn't just battling America's 12 golfers anymore. They were fighting 50,000 loud, drunk saboteurs screaming from every angle. The Ryder Cup, once hailed as golf's classiest showdown, had morphed into a tribal war zone, with Rory McIlroy standing right in the flames, refusing to back down. Let me throw this at you. Was Rory really out of line? Or was this the only way to fight back against a wild, feral crowd gone too far? Drop a if you think he crossed the line, or if you think it was straight up legendary. Because when the dust finally settled on Saturday night, Rory McIlroy walked up to the microphones and shattered the silence like a pro ready for war. His voice stayed calm, but every word sliced sharp like glass. "I don't mind the banter, that's what makes the Ryder Cup special," he said. But when fans scream in your backswing, that's not passion, that's disrespect. And then came the knockout blow, the finger, heat of the moment. But after what I heard all day, yeah, I'd do it again, boom. It was the perfect mix of brutal honesty and fearless defiance. Rory owned every second of it. No fake apology, no pandering to critics, just a raw confession from a man who'd been pushed way past his human limits. Rory laid it all out, saying he'd heard endless you Rory chants, ugly slurs about his family, even cheap shots at his career setbacks. And while officials just stood there pretending not to see it, he and Lowry were basically left to police their own match like it was chaos control on grass. That honesty flipped the whole story. Rory wasn't the villain anymore. He was the fighter who refused to be bullied. European fans praised his guts, and even neutral commentators admitted the crowd's abuse had crossed every possible line. By wearing his frustration in public, McIlroy turned a scandal into unity. His fire lit up Team Europe like never before. That middle finger might have been the spark, but the message behind it? Unstoppable. But the real story went way beyond golf. This wasn't just Europe versus Team USA, it was Europe versus the mob. Bethpage didn't host a golf event, it unleashed a full-blown cultural collision. American fans twisted patriotism into profanity, turning the Ryder Cup into something straight out of a gladiator pit. Cups were flying, chants were raging, and at least 5 fans got tossed out. Yet Team Europe stood tall, refusing to back down for even a second. Rory's fiery gesture, Lowry's near brawls, even Tommy Fleetwood's cold, unblinking stares, they all turned into symbols of resistance. This wasn't about birdies or bogeys anymore. It was about pride, respect, and dignity under siege. And through all that madness, Europe still dominated. The scoreboard bled blue, the chants grew desperate, and by Sunday, victory didn't just belong to Europe. It belonged to Rory and every player who refused to bow to the chaos. Still, the poison hasn't faded. Captains begged for calm, pundits called for reforms, and Robert McIntyre's haunting words about the crowd's feral behavior stuck like a scar across the whole event. This Ryder Cup proved once and for all, golf isn't immune to the dark side of sports tribalism. But for Rory McIlroy, it also proved something far deeper. He's not just a golfer, he's a fighter with fire in his soul. And when you push him too far, he's gonna flip more than a scorecard. He'll flip the whole narrative. That's the lasting fallout from golf's biggest middle finger. But now it's on you. Did Rory disgrace the game, or did he save it from turning into a total circus? Drop your take below, and don't forget to smash that like button if you think this Ryder Cup's going down as legendary. And don't forget to hit subscribe to the Golf Swing channel. More wild sports chaos is coming your way. Smash that like below and drop a comment with your take.